Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com here. Mishmash of white wines today. Two from Italy, but different ends of the country. One from South Africa. The first one I've got here is Gruner Veltliner from Austria, from the Kremstal region in Austria, from Felsner. Felsner Moosburgerin Gruner Veltliner 2008. Now, Gruner Veltliner is a grape that it's grown in a few countries in Central Europe, but Austria is the mainstay, and I can't remember seeing too many great ones, any great ones indeed, outside Austria. But watch this space, because New Zealand's planted a bit, and I think there was some people did their first vintage with it there in 2009. So watch for it over the next couple of years. You might see a few creeping onto the shelves. But this one here, Gruner Veltliner comes in, I suppose, a variety of styles. If it's on the young, crisp edge, it's like drinking grapefruit juice. It's got that grapefruity edge. If you pick it very ripe, so it can get up to like 14.5%, 15%. It's more peachy. But all the while, there's some characters that really come through strongly. One is white pepper, and one is, some people say lentil. Some people say lentil or spice, but there's a quite exotic edge to it too. Now this one seems to like it fits halfway down the ladder. It's not over the top, ripe and rich, and it's not sort of bracing, almost I want to be Sauvignon Blanc style. Tasty, tasty wine. Yes, it's got this lovely mix of freshness and power. You've got that citrus, lemony, grapefruit grip, but then you've also got this slightly rounder, fuller edge. And like all good Gruner Veltliner, you can tell that it's come from, it's a product of the soil. It doesn't taste like it's been manufactured by a fruit juice factory. There's this undercurrent of river pebbles, which is really nice. Okay, next one down. Gibel Zibibo. That's a great name for a grape variety. Zibibo. Zibibo is basically Muscat, and this is from Sicily, from a well-known Marsala producer called Pellegrino, from their Duca di Castelmonte estate, and they do Muscat in sweet styles, but this is dry Zibibo. And it's classic Muscat. It's one of those grapes that actually smells of grapes. So I get grapes, I get citrus, and it feels fresh and lively. Also got something, slightly floral hints, a bit rose petal-like too. And there's something of that almost oily edge that you get with walnuts that I find in things like Gewürztraminer too. A very distinctive wine. It's got a classic grapey Muscat character, but you think you're going to get something sweet, and then the finish, it's rich but it's dry, and it leaves your mouth really refreshed and satisfied. Some Muscats on the lighter side, they're really good as aperitifs. This one feels like it's got that extra bit of weight. I'd want to have that with some quite full-flavoured, I think maybe with a touch more sweetness it would be more suited to spicier food, but certainly it's got the weight to cope with quite meaty fish dishes. Very tasty. I'm enjoying these. Hopefully I'll enjoy the next one. It's the Wine Society's bottling, won't pour it into the spittoon, it's the Wine Society's bottling of Tierhoek Chenin Blanc. Now, Tierhoek is an estate in the Western Cape in South Africa. Nearest places are things like Cederberg, Citrusdal, well, I'm looking forward to Chenin Blanc from here, because South Africa's got loads and loads of Chenin Blanc. They used to turn most of it into brandy, but now people aren't drinking as much brandy, so they need to do something else with it. And it's suffered slightly because people have thought, oh, it's a grape that you just use for brandy, and they've overcropped it and been left with something that is interesting but more pale. But there are a few people who think, well, okay, we've got these nice old vines, let's make a proper wine from it. Let's see if this is one of those. Well, it does smell like there's going to be quite a lot of wine here. I like that there's an almost cooked apple and honey edge that I get from it. Quite typical characters of Chenin Blanc. And again, it's one of those where it smells like it could be sweet, but I know it's going to be dry. That's really tasty. Yeah, it's got these apple charlotte type of flavours, almost tart tatin. If you imagine tart tatin without the sweetness, that's like cooked edge of fruit, a bit of honey, a bit of brown sugar. I put dry brown sugar in my notes quite a lot of the time because you're left with this flavour but not the sweetness there. And Chenin Blanc is known for its acidity, and so while this is coming from quite a warm place, it doesn't finish too hot, it doesn't finish flabby, it's got this lovely acidity to mop the finish up. Oh, it's lovely bracing wine, rich but bracing. Ah, I'm having a really good morning here. Never come across this wine before. I've come across the winery, La Tunella, in the top right-hand corner, otherwise known as the northeast. Friuli. This is Colli Orientali del Friuli, so it's that bit of Italy that's just over the border from the former Yugoslavia, from Slovenia as it is now. And this is a special wine that La Tunella did, named after one of the matriarchs, La Linda. And it's a mix of two of the local grape varieties, Malvasia and Ribolla. And I think this is the first vintage that they've done in 2008. Well, I was saying about mineral character on the Felsner, and that where the mineral character there that you were getting was almost like a cool river pebble edge. Here, it feels much sandier. I don't know how I can talk about smelling minerals, but there is what I call life beyond fruit here. There's the Malvasia is quite a big weighty wine, and it gives it's almost like a bit like Viognier. It's got a bit of peachy character, not a great deal of acidity, and then Ribolla is more about freshness and a bit of spice. But underneath those there is this almost clay-like character that I'm getting through. Unoaked wine. It's been aged on the lees a bit, so it's got a bit of that creamy, slightly bready edge that you get from wines that have been aged on the lees. It's intriguing because it's not in-your-face fruity. Malvasia isn't a really fruity grape. It's weighty, but it's not as full-on fruity as, well, as I was saying, Viognier. It's not got that really big, powerful fruit. But it does have a real presence in the mouth. Certainly not the sort of wine that you want to sit there and sip by itself, but one of those things, again, that will need some food to start making sense. And it's these things like cream, pomegranate, maybe just a slight touch of something spicy like ginger, but it's not a vulgar spicy wine. Sometimes I find that the blends that they do in northeast Italy, it's almost they're trying to put too many ingredients into a recipe, and they end up with just a hodgepodge that doesn't do anyone any favours. But I think they've done it really quite subtly here, and it feels like a wine that will go on and on for quite a bit. I'm left with that clay-like richness on the finish, and it feels like there's a little bit of uncoiling still to do. So I'm a really nice quartet of wines here. I wasn't sure what to expect of some of them, but I've been pleasantly impressed. Hope you have too. See you soon.